반갑습니다. 원불교 교화 현장의 다양한 울림을 전하는 종합 정보 프로그램 매거진 원입니다. 무더위와 코로나19로 힘든 여름입니다. 비워내고 기다리며 참을 줄 아는 마음 공부가 더욱 절실한 시간입니다. 원기 106년 7월 셋째 주 매거진 원 시작합니다. 제248회 임시수의단회가 7월 13일부터 14일까지 열렸습니다. 이번 임시수의단회는 원불교전서 개정 증보판 작업에 대한 해결책을 논의하기 위해 긴급하게 대면으로 진행했습니다. 7월 13일부터 14일까지 1박 2일 동안 진행된 제248회 임시수의단회에서는 제233회 임시수의단회에서 결의됐던 원불교 5종교서 오탈자 교정안의 건 결의사항을 취소했고 원기 104년부터 106년까지 수의단에서 결의됐던 교전, 교서 편수 관련 결의사항에 대해 전면 취소해 교전 및 교서에 대한 모든 것을 원점에서 재논의하기로 했습니다. 현재 회수되고 있는 원불교전서 개정 증보판은 전량 회수해 폐기하기로 했으며 아울러 새로운 원불교 전서가 발간되기 전까지 기존의 원불교 전서를 기준 원불교 전서로 사용하기로 했습니다. 또한 향후 교전 및 교서에 대한 편찬은 제가 출가와 전문가의 의견을 충분히 수렴하여 편찬하되 편찬 기간을 조급히 한정하지 않고 진행하며 편찬 업무를 전문적으로 수행할 수 있는 상설기구를 설치하기로 했습니다.
제가 생각해 볼 때 모든 것이 다 제가 신성이 부족하고 역량이 미흡해서 생긴 일이라고 생각이 되어서 거듭 미안한 말씀을 드립니다. 후천개벽의 주세불로 오신 우리 대종사님은 큰 법문을 미래 수만 대의 모든 인류가 한량없이 희망하고 받들고 한 사람도 빠짐없이 다 제도받기를 염원하는 것은 우리 제가 출가 모든 교도님들의 한결같은 소망이라고 저는 생각을 합니다.
수의단원들은 책임을 깊이 통감하며 참회 기도를 올렸으며 앞으로 수의단의 운영을 쇄신하고 이번 사태 발생의 근원적 원인을 의사결정 과정의 경직성과 출제가 대중들과 충분히 소통하지 못했음이라 판단했습니다. 앞으로 수의단에는 교단 전반의 중요한 사안들을 능동적으로 논의해 교단의 문제를 풀어가도록 수의단의 운영을 쇄신하고 대중과의 소통을 활발히 해 의사결정 과정을 더욱 개선해 나갈 것임을 다짐했고 아울러 교단 혁신에 대한 출제가 교도들의 열망을 무겁게 받아들여 소통과 혁신을 위한 그 첫걸음으로 7월 19일 출가 교화단 총단회를 열기로 했습니다. 또한 결복 교훈을 열어가는 교단 4대를 준비하는 데 최선을 다할 것을 약속하며 제248회 임시수의단회를 마쳤습니다. 정전의 원리에 바탕한 마음공부법을 배우는 중앙교구 마음공부대학이 교리실천과 마음공부 생활화를 위한 공부를 마치고 7월 9일 종강했습니다. 정전 공부에 대한 관심과 이해의 바탕에 스스로 공부를 통해 실질적이고 사실적인 마음 공부를 하고자 개강한 중앙교구 마음공부대학이 마무리됐습니다. 지난 4월 30일에 개강한 제4기 마음공부대학은 원리 1반, 원리 2반, 응용반으로 구성됐는데요. 원리 1반은 매주 금요일 오후 2시 교구청에서 대면으로, 원리 2반과 응용반은 오후 7시에 온라인으로 수업이 진행됐습니다. 특히 이번 4기는 기존 마음공부대학과는 다르게 화상으로 2개 반을 진행하다 보니 익산은 물론이고 가깝게는 전주, 멀게는 서울, 인천, 부산, 광주, 신탄진, 보령 등 다양한 지역에서 많은 교도들이 참여할 수 있었습니다. 지난 3기부터 출가 재가 교도들이 함께 원리반을 위한 교재를 만들었고 교재의 바탕에 원리반 강의가 진행됐습니다. 또한 1기에서 3기 마음공부대학을 수료하고 응용반에 공부 중인 재가 교도들 가운데 2명이 4기 마음공부대학에 원리반 강사로 합류해 각각 1회기의 강의를 진행했습니다. 중앙교구 배현송 교구장은 마음공부대학 4기 수료자들에게 축하 인사를 전했는데요. 이번 마음공부대학을 통해 마음공부에 대한 노력들이 쌓이고 연습하고 훈련하는 과정들이 탄탄한 지도자로 성장할 수 있는 기현들이 될 것임을 전하며 함께한 지도인들과 공부인들을 박수로 격려했습니다. 이어 공부인들 한 학기 공부소득을 나누는 시간이 이어졌는데요. 윤미선 교도는 원래는 없어지는 마음에서 있어지는 마음이 생길 때를 잘 알아차려서 마음 공부를 잘하며 살겠다는 다짐을 전했습니다. 손경자 교도는 이번 마음공부대학을 통해 어떤 경계가 생겼을 때 내가 우선 멈출 수 있는 자세를 가지고 있다는 것만으로 큰 결과를 얻은 것 같다고 소감을 나눴습니다. 원불교 청년들이 지난해에 이어 올해도 온택트 선방을 열고 심신의 힘을 길렀습니다. 원불교 청년회는 훈련에 앞서 선객들에게 훈련 키트를 발송해 각자가 처한 곳이 선방이 될 수 있도록 조력했습니다. 원불교 청년회가 7월 2일부터 5일까지 온라인 청년 심야 선방 시즌2를 진행했습니다. 훈련의 힘을 믿어볼까라는 주제로 열린 이번 심야 선방은 매일 밤 10시부터 2시간 동안 함께했으며 선방에 참여한 93명의 선객은 좌선, 연불, 일기기재, 경전사경 등 훈련 프로그램에 집중했습니다. 결제식 날 윤대기 청년회 지도교무는 청년들이 가장 많이 하는 고민이 자기 성장에 대한 부분이라며 정산 종사님이 말씀하신 정성심과 주의심을 놓지 않는 존심을 꾸준히 지킨다면 지금의 고민이 절로 풀릴 것이라고 결제 법문을 했습니다. 매일 진행된 집중 선수행은 대전 충남교구 조건중 교무가 맡아 날짜별로 연불, 좌선, 감사생활 등을 구체적으로 안내했습니다. 둘째 날과 셋째 날에는 경전사경, 일기기재, 선수행을, 마지막 날에는 선수행과 해제식을 진행했으며 4일간의 훈련 소득도 함께 나눴습니다. 박인수 원불교 청년회 회장은 온라인으로 청년 정기 훈련을 하게 돼 아쉽지만 훈련을 기다린 청년들이 4일간 화면을 꽉 채웠다고 전하며 불안정한 청년의 삶 속에서 훈련을 통해 공부심을 키우고 상시훈련과 정기훈련의 경계 없이 무시선, 무처선을 행할 수 있는 시간이었다고 훈련 소감을 전했습니다. 매거진원 초대석 시간입니다. 지난 4월 교단 내 반가운 소식이 전해졌는데요. 바로 최초의 외국인 원무가 승인됐다는 소식이었습니다. 이로써 해외 교화의 발판이 하나 더 마련됐다고 볼 수 있을 텐데요. 그 주인공인 뉴질랜드 오클랜드 교당의 원선일 원무 모셔서 이야기 나눠보겠습니다. 원무님 반갑습니다.
Nice to meet you too.
네, 반갑습니다. 먼저 직접 소개 부탁드리겠습니다.
Sure. Yeah. Thank you for the opportunity. Well, my name is Chris Pregalo. Wonsonil is my Buddhist name, and yeah, I was born in Germany, and when I was very young, about a year and a half old, my family we moved to Japan, and I spent my early childhood years there. Then I moved back to Germany, and when I was about 17 or 18 years old, I moved to New Zealand, and I've been living there since then. I finished my university education in New Zealand, so that's a PhD in psychology, and I'm now an associate professor at Auckland University of Technology. And yeah, my family is my wife Annie is from Thailand. I met her here in New Zealand, and we have one son His name is Ananda, and he's 13 years old. And yeah, that's basically.
네. 법명이 원선일인데요. 이 법명에 어떤 의미가 담겨 있는지 직접 또 소개해 주시면 좋을 것 같습니다.
Yes, so the one surname, so to speak, is like a Buddhist surname because, you know, as a foreigner, you tend to get one given as a Buddhist surname. And so Sonil is my Dharma name. And the two characters are the two Chinese characters, Son for Trason, you know, the sitting meditation of Zen, Son, that character, and Il meaning one. So you could interpret it as meaning that you find Il one through meditation or those kind of, yeah, that's what it means.
네, 가르침의 의미가 잘 담긴 법명 원선일인 것 같습니다. 먼저 축하드려야 될 것 같습니다. 최초의 외국인 원무가 되셨는데요. 기분 어떠신가요?
Yeah, I feel very honored. This is such a privilege, and really I feel grateful and humbled to be given that confidence by so many people, and that it goes back to relationships I've been building over the years, and I'd like to, you know, acknowledge and thank, you know, actually could thank many people, but I'd like to start with Gyeongsan Sangsanim, who I've met my visits to Korea several times, and with his support and trust, and Hwasan Sangsanim, who has also been my mentor really in many ways, who has come to New Zealand twice, and I've had the pleasure of hosting him in New Zealand. And last time in 2019, when I organized a international mindfulness conference with some colleagues at my university, and we had invited Hwasan Sangsanim as a keynote speaker, and that was very exciting and unique because we have a psychology conference and we have a Buddhist keynote speaker. And he kindly took up that offer and presented at our conference. And yeah, the current Dharma master, you know, I'd like to also thank him for, you know, the trust and all the other people I've met on my trips to Korea, including Ansonjuk Yomonim Hotawanim, who's been looking after me while I was there in many times, and people at the Maomi Munhak Yongguso at Wongbang University inspired me with, you know, giving me lots of ideas about the relationship between psychology and Buddhism, and of course Kunsan Nim, Anjong Myong Gyomunim here in New Zealand, and our members at the Dao Gyodang here, you know, who are also, you know, it's very supportive and, you know, making me feel not nervous, you know, when I'm here at the Gyodang and practicing my skills. So I'm very grateful for that.
네, 정말 많은 분들에게도 감사 인사도 전해주셨고 그 기분이 그대로 또 드러나는 것 같습니다. 현재 앞서서 소개해 주셨지만 오클랜드 공과대학 심리학 교수로 재직 중이신데요. 어떻게 또 원불교를 알게 됐을지 참 궁금합니다. 원불교에 입교한 후에 또 어떤 활동을 해주셨고 어떤 과정을 거쳐서 원무가 됐는지 그동안의 시간을 쭉 한번 정리를 해주신다면요.
Yeah, sure, no problem. Yeah, so I've always had an interest in Buddhism in some throughout my life, and you know, because when I was very young, I lived in Japan. I didn't feel Buddhism was strange to me. You know, didn't feel like a foreign, unusual religion. But of course, as a child, I didn't really have much real deep contact with Buddhism. And when I got a little bit older, my sort of early 20s, I started to be very interested in Taoism, you know, Togyo in Korean. So that is, that is something that I really, really got passionate about, and it created a bit of a conflict in me because I was really interested in Buddhism, but actually almost a bit more interested in the Taoism. At least from the practice side, I was, you can practice Buddhism more easily. There's temples and groups around, but the philosophy, I really liked the Taoism. And so I could never really find out which way I should be heading. And I was also in the Esperanto movement, or I still am in the Esperanto movement. So that's the international language Esperanto. And through Esperanto, I came across One Buddhism, because the One Buddhist group, One Buddhist Esperanto group, was promoting One Buddhism through the language Esperanto, and that's how I found out about it. And I got curious and was interested, and I liked the idea of Esperanto and One Buddhism combined, and then I contacted Anjong Myong Gyomunim, and he sent me some books, and I was very surprised. The books arrived in my mail, and suddenly I thought it was very generous, someone sending me all these books. And I opened them, I looked at them, and read a few pages, and I was actually really impressed. I thought, wow, this is really, really something I've been looking for, because it mentioned those Taoist principles many times. And I thought, hey, this is exactly that combination I was looking for. Later on, I discovered there's also Confucianism in One Buddhism. So that's something I learned new, and I'm keen to learn more about as well. So this is how I got to know One Buddhism. And of course, entering, that took a while, because I had come to some Pope, like some Dharma service activities and so on, and got to meet Anjong Myong Gyomunim one-to-one and discuss a few things. So gradually I started to become a member, and then also felt that I would like to become a lay teacher, since teaching is also what I do at the university, so it kind of makes sense. And I'm passionate about what I do in meditation and the philosophy, so it makes sense to train as a Wonmu, so I can hopefully inspire other people and help them find solutions to their problems or finding meaning in their life. So that became a flexible journey, I have to say, because obviously I'm working at a university and in a country far away from Korea, right? New Zealand is an 11-hour flight away, so it's not easy to fly there and back, and especially now, right, with COVID. So my sort of training, so to speak, was with a lot of one-on-one meetings, and also I had the privilege that before COVID, at least with my university activities, I could fly to Korea quite regularly to attend meetings of the Mind Institute at Wonggwang University, and so that gave me a chance to meet more people and learn, so everyone has their ways of teaching me, and I can sometimes learn from people just watching them and seeing them as a role model. I don't have to really sit down with them and discuss much, and sometimes, of course, it involves a discussion. So it's as I said, it's quite a flexible journey. But I'm lucky that with my university work, my research is in mindfulness and psychology and meditation. It overlaps with One Buddhism so much that it becomes quite natural.
네, 원불교를 어떻게 접하게 됐는지, 그리고 그간에 어떤 과정들이 있었는지 잘 알 수 있었던 답변인데요. 아무래도 이 이유 때문에 더욱 관심이 가는 게 아닐까 싶습니다. 최초와 그리고 외국인 원무라는 타이틀 때문인데요. 이 두 가지 사실이 참 의미가 있지만 한편으로는 더욱더 큰 좀 막중한 책임감이 느껴질 것 같습니다. 원무 승인이 난 지 한 2개월 남짓 흘렀는데요. 원무가 되기 전과 그 이후 외적으로나 심리적으로나 변화가 좀 있으셨을까요?
Yeah, absolutely right. I mean, a sense of responsibility is something that I feel, of course. I feel the trust given to me. I don't want to let people down and disappoint. And the positive side, though, it is also very motivating. It's a fresh wind for me, almost like, motivation to keep practicing, keep asking questions, and keep studying, and keep talking to people, and keep learning, and that is the positive side, really, and it gives me strength. So in terms of so that's the feeling I had, the responsibility and feeling honored, and there's also some other thing which I don't know whether I can explain it very well, but I'll try anyway. And it is feeling of a little bit like I've gained a new culture, and that is sort of. So I'll explain a little bit. What I mean here is the one Buddhist culture. Yeah. So of course you've got Korean culture, and within there you've got one Buddhist culture, and I feel that has become now my culture, the one Buddhist culture. Before, if I'm a Westerner, then I get perhaps perceived as, for example, there's Yomju here, if I carry the Yomju with me, right? It might be something, because I look like a Westerner, it might be something people think, oh, okay, this is Chris and he likes some Asian things, and then maybe he's carrying this around, and if somebody gave this to him, and or maybe next year he's doing something else. This year he's going to a Korean group, and maybe next year Vietnamese or something else. But now it's different, right? Because I'm a Wonmu, and this is what Wonmus do. They have a Yomju with them, and this is now part of my lifestyle. This is my culture. So I feel like I'm part of this now. Before, it always feels a little bit, or it's a foreign thing, or Chris is doing this, and as I said, it doesn't feel permanent. So that is sort of a feeling I've had.
네, 원무가 되기 전에도 교화 활동을 열심히 또 해오셨다고 들었는데요. 현재도 외국인들과 또 현지인들을 대상으로 선방을 운영하고 계시고, 오클랜드 대학교에서도 학생들을 대상으로 또 현지인들을 대상으로 마음 공부 등을 또 소개하고 있다고 들었습니다. 이런 활동들을 통해서 그들에게 전하고 싶은 메시지가 있으신 거죠?
Yeah, so that's right. The weekly meditation is an important part of what we do, right? And it is something I encourage and would like to ideally get people to keep up regularly. And that's my main message usually to people, to keep it up regularly and make it a habit, make it a something you do all the time without asking questions. Like, we wake up in the morning and get ready for our day, and we don't question every morning, do I have to brush my teeth today, or no, I brushed yesterday. No, we do it, right? It is becoming part of our everyday life, and we need to be the same with our practice. Our daily meditation, our daily Buddhist practice, everything we do, that we don't always ask, can I skip today? Or I did yesterday the really long one, maybe I can do a short one today. That is something that I always keep saying to people who come here, that it becomes your insurance policy. Because at the moment, somebody might feel happy, or life is going well, everything is good. But as we all know, right, in life there's ups and downs, and when you have energy, when you're healthy, when you can come to a meditation evening, take the opportunity and come, because you're healthy, you can come, no problem. Be ready for the future. So that, because bad times will come. It's just the normal principle of life, right? Cause and effect. It will happen. So we have to get ready for those days, and that is what the message I try to get across to people who come here. So they don't feel, when the meditation doesn't go very well one day, it doesn't matter. Come back again next time. Come back again next time. there's no rush, but the main thing is to do it regularly.
말씀해 주신 것처럼 언제 다가올지 모르는 어떠한 일에 대해서 대비를 할 수 있도록 우리가 좀 서두르지 않고 급하지 않게 천천히 그리고 꾸준히 수행하는 것이 참 중요한 것 같습니다. 그러고 보면 원불교에서 강조하는 마음 공부와 우리 원무님께서 또 전공하신 심리학이 어느 면에서는 좀 닿아 있다라는 생각이 드는데 어떤가요?
Yeah, there's definitely in terms of the actual meditation in the West, we often think of Buddhism is a lot about meditation, and it's true, but there is more to it, of course, right? And so this is perhaps where the differences are. Like with Buddhism, there's a lot of focus on the relationship between, or mind studies, the relationship between you and the teacher, because you work with somebody. It's like a coach, right? You work with somebody who is more experienced and you trust them, and so there's a relationship of trust and a relationship of like a coach and a student, or a coach and a sportsman. But with psychology, it seems to be that this isn't the case. But if you actually look deep, in psychology, in science, there's also a lot of trust. We can't read every single book there is. We can't read every single article. We have to sometimes just trust the process of science. So we often don't see that, that we also rely on trust in the method of science. Just the same way as we in mind practice, we need to trust in the seniors, and that they have got insights from which we can learn, right? So that is perhaps some similarities, differences, and the differences as well. Now that you've mentioned it, is that in psychology, we being a science, it's very important to be very precise. You use a particular word, and you can only use that word in that meaning. You can't change it. Like if you are in medicine, you can't suddenly say, oh, look, I give you a different drug, it doesn't matter in the name of the drug, who cares? No, you have to be precise. So in psychology as well, if you say quality of life, that's what it means. You can't suddenly say, oh, well-being or happiness, to change the words around. So that is sort of the part of science that's very important. In mind studies, though, in Buddhism and when you go to scriptures, you realize that it's the reason for those scriptures and the teachings is to help people gain insights. So sometimes words are used in a slightly different way depending on the context. So if somebody comes from a particular perspective, the teacher uses a word in a particular way, and so it's not quite. It's more about teaching rather than precision about the word. So this is one main difference.
네, 지금까지 종교는 많은 이들에게 또 희망이 되어 왔습니다. 그런데 우리가 새롭게 맞이한 이 일상에서 앞으로 우리가 종교에서 찾아내야 되는 건 어떤 게 있을지, 혹은 뭐 종교가 존재하는 이유에 대해서 같이 말씀을 해주셔도 좋을 것 같습니다.
Yeah, so plans and hopes is that people are recognizing, how much they can actually really do, with their limited ability. Everyone has different resources and abilities and knowledge, and depending how old you are and what your circumstances are, but everyone can do something to help either yourself and other people, especially helping other people is very important, and that people don't lose that hope, and that spark, that sometimes people get a little bit frustrated or disoriented and don't know where things are going, and get a bit depressed. That people, we maintain that the hope, and then we can inspire each other, and that people really see that it pays off. When you're practicing, your meditation or your other practices, there is an immediate result. Maybe not immediately, right? Sometimes yes, but what I mean is that you will notice it over time, and that's it's actually quite simple. Sometimes we're hiding behind, we want to come up. People are expecting sort of very complicated messages, right? But at the end of the day, a lot of the most powerful messages are quite simple. If you do the practice, then you get the certain results. So the key is to keep it up. So don't lose the hope. We support each other. So that is, as I said, I see this as an insurance policy, your Buddhist practice, and I'd like to hopefully get people to see this and acknowledge this. And in terms of the verses that inspire me, I mean that it really just depends on what I'm currently sort of thinking about or working on. I mean, the Soul Moon is full of messages in there, and you can sort of work on one line almost every month. But what I find very sort of inspiring these days, or what I actually for quite a while, is this description that the principle of causality, is utterly impartial, and selfless, and that is in the early part of the scriptures. And when some things don't go well for me, right? Let's say my car breaks down or something like that, or why is this broken again? I'm thinking, well, hang on. The principle of causality that made this car work, the laws of physics, everything, it's not working because it's maybe broken now for a particular reason, but the same principle also made it work to start with. So we can't just say, oh, I want the laws of physics only to apply when I want it, but then my car can go, but it can never break. It doesn't make sense. So it inspires me, to when something bad goes my way, that I'm thinking, whatever this caused this bad thing is the same thing that also caused good things. So I can't just, choose the principle only for good things and not for the bad things. It doesn't make sense. Yeah. So that sort of keeps me going and inspires me.
네, 이제 한 발걸음 떼신 정도인데요. 앞으로의 활동들도 저희 매거진원에서 항상 응원하도록 하겠습니다. 처음은 또 힘들고 외롭다는 이야기 많이 하죠. 하지만 또 처음이 있어야지 그것을 발판 삼아서 더 나아가고 발전할 수 있는 겁니다. 원불교 최초 외국인 원무라는 이름 앞에 지어진 무게를 우리가 더욱 관심을 가지고 함께 또 나눠준다면 두 번째, 세 번째 외국인 원무의 탄생도 머지 않을 것 같습니다. 원무님 언제나 사님의 은혜가 함께하기를 염원드리고요. 오늘 귀한 시간 내주셔서 감사합니다. 고맙습니다.
Thank you very much, and it was a pleasure.
더하기와 빼기, 곱하기, 나누기. 수를 계산하는 공식이지만 우리가 살아가는데도 꼭 필요한 계산법 아닐까 싶은데요. 그 어느 해보다 힘든 7월. 여러분의 7월엔 무엇을 더하고, 무엇을 빼고, 또 무엇을 곱하고, 무엇을 나누고 싶으신지 궁금합니다. 매거진원에서 준비한 소식은 여기까지입니다. 시청해주신 여러분 고맙습니다.